one last episode of the year 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I love you so much, and I just couldn't let you end the year without another amazing information that you need to actually help your child or help yourself, elevate into a career. By helping your child, I mean, help your child make informed career decision. We live in a world where everything is constantly changing. So what we do is we bring the experts from different career fields to come and share with us about what it feels like to be in the career fields that they're already in, and what to expect there as somebody that is starting off. So to avoid being stuck in careers that we're not happy with, because at the end of the day, we want everybody to be happy at what they do in future. We just want to build a generation that is full of smart individuals that are willing and ready to change the world for better. So ladies and gentlemen, without wasting any time, let me welcome you to another brand new amazing episode of Complacency Learning. As always, I'm your host Ndibo Chibase, and on today's amazing episode, we have such an amazing guest. Ladies and gentlemen, this amazing guest has such a wonderful piece of information to share with us. And if you wonder who that is, please stay tuned, because ladies and gentlemen, seriously, there's a lot to learn. There is really a lot to learn from this guest. This guest is like an angel, it's like God sent. So yeah, it's been a blessing to have him on today's amazing episode. So let's just hear what he's got for us and grab those popcorns, enjoy the show. Hi, Walter. It's a brand new day. And welcome to another amazing episode of Complacency Learning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, man. Thank you very much for inviting me on a discussion with Complacency Learning. And I know that you always have like really inspiring discussions with people that are doing amazing work. And I'm really happy to be here. And I hope that what I talk matches the standards of the kinds of caliber of people you talk with here. So happy to be here.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to know that you feel that way, actually. And to answer the question of how are you, I'm super well. They say every day that you spend above the ground is a blessing. So to be spending it above the ground, one should really appreciate it. So
Definitely.
Walter, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do, and also what we can expect to learn from you?
Okay. Wow. That's always a loaded question. No one ever has a ready answer for that.
Yeah, that's true.
How can you condense yourself in a minute? But I'll try. That's one thing that I've had to learn.
Give it your best shot, eh?
So yeah, I'll try to give it my best shot. So I think I would characterize myself as a rebel more than anything. Not against any particular order, but in the way that I approach life, right? To say that I'm going to try and see if I can live the life that is true to me, right? Oftentimes, sorry about that.
No problem.
Oftentimes, you find that people are, as they're living their lives, they end up trying to fit in and do the things that they're told to do. While I do that to a certain extent, I also understand that, we are at a very critical time of our lives where change is always necessary. And change is not going to come from the outside. It's going to come from us. And I'm one of those people who are part of us, right? So I try to see, how is it that I'm living my life? Can I make the world a better place? How can I make it for myself? And how can I be able to make sure that, the way that I do things gives value to the people around me? So that's kind of how I would describe myself, a person seeking purpose in the work that they do, right? So yes, currently I'm working on Thought Masters as a founder, and we've got some exciting new projects coming up. So I think we can be able to talk about that. Did I answer your questions, or
yes,
did I go overboard?
absolutely. No, you did absolutely. So I have to say that it's not a lot of people that look at themselves, the way that you do, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe that you see yourself as a problem solver, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So obviously, as a problem solver, along the way, there's things that you've discovered that you found to be very good at and some of the things you're not very good at, right? So if you don't mind me asking, so I don't know if this question is going to be too much, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask it anyway. What are you not very good at? I know that a lot of people expect to be asked, what are you good at? But right now I'm asking you, what are you not very good at?
Oh my God. I could tell you pages and pages and pages of things that I'm good at,
Just give
but
us
I'm
the
sure there's
top of the
also
list, you know.
similarly, yeah, I'm sure there's an even bigger frightening list of things that I am not good at. But we often don't like to focus so much on those. Let's see. What are the things that I'm not good at? Um, I'm not really good at I'm not so great at doing things that other people have done, right? I get extremely bored, I guess, easily. Um, I I could say I'm bad at following orders, which is a bad thing to admit. Um, it's a wonder how I got through high school or university. If you can't follow orders, it's a big problem, right? I'm I think I'm bad with also being patient at times. Right? You want things. We live. A part of it is part of my makeup, and part of it is I have to apportion some part of the blame to our generation, where we've been called the microwave generation, right? So we want things done now. We don't want it 10 years from now, 15 years from now. We want them now.
Yeah.
So I think patience and following orders, but I'm always trying to make sure that I get better on those. Yeah, because you have to cooperate with people anyhow, and part of cooperation requires that you learn new things and that you are following orders, be it traditions, be it rules. Otherwise, you might end up in trouble. So I very much don't intend to. I Yeah, I
Looks like
want to
I'm
be good.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead talking.
No, I was done. I was done.
No, I was saying it looks like I'm talking to a very innovative mind, a mind that
Yeah.
really came here to solve problems, not just came here to exist, because I mean a lot of people they came here to exist, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
since you mentioned that you're not very good at following orders, and you said that you wonder how you made it through from primary to high school and also the tertiary level, right? So obviously, in a way, there was some sort of self-education that you did, right?
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
if you don't mind me asking, how did that happen? How did you educate yourself? Like, what kind of sources did you use and all those kind of things? You know.
Um, I've never been really good at discriminating where my sources of education comes from. You know, I'll give you an example. So, of course, there's the formal education, right? You go into class, there's a teacher who says, "Hey, we've got 1, 2, 3 topics. You've got to learn from these." Um, And of course, you learn. You learn what it is that they have to say, and you hear what it is that they have to say, and you master those, right? Or except maybe to the extent that you can. But I've always found that there's always been an unmet appetite of more that I still wanted to know, right? So I would take every single opportunity that I can. Even today, I still do it. I can see a 5-year-old. You go to the 5-year-old and you say, "Hey, here's some sweets," and then you look at them, and then they're also going to be like, "Hey, here's a Coke that I had," like, okay, this is generosity. They're teaching you something about, for me to give you something, give something that I value, that I like, and in that, you share kind of joy, right? So that's me learning from even little children. I learn from animals. I learn from nature. I try to extract a lot of lessons from every which way, even from people around me, even adults, be it's us in this particular age or even older ones, where they learn to smile through adversity, to say, yes, they're going to be hard times, but they're not going to last, right? They're not going to last. It's not permanent. You have to be able to see things in perspective of the entirety of your life or the potential of it and the impact you're able to make, right? So I don't really discriminate. That's one thing that I've had to learn the hard way, that never discriminate where your education comes from. Always open yourself up to learning, and never mind the whole thing of, this person is this color or this age, so I'm not going to take lessons from them, or maybe they're this gender. It doesn't really matter. If you can get the lesson, if you can get the education, take it graciously, and it'll make you a lot more wiser, I guess. So that's one thing that I've had to learn and will continue holding on to.
Yeah. Well, that's a wonderful piece of information, I must say.
Mm.
like they say, learning comes in different forms, but a lot of us, unfortunately, we don't realize that, because we still believe that learning happens in a class where there's a person standing, explaining 1, 2, and 3. And then there are those sitting,
That's true.
Understanding what's that 1, 2, and 3 is. And people fail to understand that all those things, what we come across in our, daily lives, there's always a lesson. We learn from it, and that's why we actually also move from doing things the way that we're doing into the new ways of doing things, because of everything that we've been through. So, and also now, if I may ask, you did say that you are here to solve the problems and all that, right? So
Yes.
what makes you feel inspired or motivated regarding that matter?
In solving the problem.
Yes. Like, what inspires you? Like, what came to you that made you feel like, oh, you know what? This is what I'm born to do. I came here to solve the problems, I came here to create better lives. Like, what is it that inspired you or motivated you from that moment onwards?
There's always a number of now that now that you ask the question, it's again, it's one of those things which you never really pinpoint to one specific issue. I've always been a person who loves to solve problems, but I guess on the new journey that I'm in now, I think more than anything, the thing that really got me to the path where I am right now is a friend, right? Is a friend. So what happened was, we were in university, first years, right? It's in University of Pretoria, first years extended program, right? We were in Mamelodi, and I'd grown up a fairly sheltered life in Ladysmith. So there you don't really see a lot of things. It's a very close neighborhood, so you don't really get to see a lot of things. And so I was, talking with them, connecting with them. First time you are having people from different walks of life, even different languages. Like, okay, you guys are talking, they're talking about the kind of things that they want to do. This guy is here saying, hey, you know what? I'm studying this because, I want to be one day taking care of my family. I want to have a girlfriend whom we can have a family with, build a life with. And I can be able to give her a house and children. And I also want to be a teacher, so that I can be able to educate other people's children, and so that they can become productive members of society. I was like, that's amazing. That's not the story that you hear often when you hear when you hear young people. They don't really talk in such terms. It's often undignified things. And so I was hearing all these stories of people that really wanted to give value, and I was quite inspired by that. And the next thing you know, the following year, he was telling me that, no, we no longer have money, right? Back at home, we no longer have money. So he was missing some classes. He was even missing some weeks. I'm like, oh, my mother's not feeling so well. My little sister, they need school fees to be able to pay. So he didn't even have transport to come to school. And I thought it was something that was going to pass. And then next thing you know, he's no longer coming to school and says he's dropping out. And I didn't know that it would hit me as hard as it did. But all he just wanted was to just learn and be able to become a productive member of society, not to rob anyone, not to steal, not to demand things he has not earned, right? It was just to learn and honestly give back value to the country he loves, to his family, to his siblings, and to his future family and even society. And for that to be robbed because simply they did not have money, I thought that was really, really unfair. So I decided to then shift to say, okay, what is one of the biggest things that I can do to be able to make sure that this doesn't happen, not just to me, but to anyone else that I know? The only thing that I could think of was to create businesses, right? Create businesses so that I can help people get jobs to earn a dignified life so that they can have the money that they need to do the things that they need, including educating their children. I know it's a far cry connection, but it's the one that was within the realm of what I could do, right? So I decided to change my study program to focus mostly on that, but that was the main thing. It was friendship and disappointment by the introduction to the unfairness of society, to say, how can someone who just wants to do right by the world have that opportunity taken from them, right? That is quite unfair. And unfortunately, that's also that's the story for most of people here in South Africa and also even Africa, right? But it was quite painful to notice that, not just to hear about it, but right in front of me. So friendship, yeah, that's what got me here. Unfortunately, it's quite sad. Sorry, I just kind of doubt the mood there. Yeah.
No, not a problem. No, I really do agree with you actually, and I'm really, happy to hear that, like at least there's something that inspired, it's something touching that inspired you to actually, be the person that you are today. And as I was listening to you right now, I thought it would be best to ask you, as a founder of Thought Masters, would you mind telling us what it is about and what you guys really do, and I don't know if maybe what motivated you to start the Thought Masters is the same reason that you just shared with us now. But if it's different, would you mind sharing with us what actually, inspired you or motivated you to be the founder of Thought Masters?
Okay. No, not a problem. So the stories are connected. Sorry, just before I go on, I feel like I just left my friend's story right there at a weird part. Now he is actually trained as a teacher, and he does have a girlfriend. He does have a child, so he's doing quite well. He doesn't let anything bounce him back. It was me who was mostly affected. With him, nothing could take him down, right? So now he's okay. Yeah. So again, I take strength from that you never let such things take you down. What then happened with Thought Masters, the then reason that I decided to start Thought Masters was after, having had been educated in the entrepreneurship, I went to the University of Pretoria where they were offering the program of BCom entrepreneurship when it was still fairly new, right? So it was still experimental because they were projecting that there was going to be a big problem in terms of unemployment. So what they could do was help people learn how to start and grow their own businesses. So after that, 2020, the story of COVID came by, right? I'm waiting for graduation, and next thing you know, roads are closed, businesses have stopped, and the other businesses that were in trouble, they were struggling. Again, I was in a situation where I was able to see other business owners that were around me. They were struggling quite a lot. During my years at university, I was doing part-time work, helping other people solve their own problems in businesses. So I thought I would use not only what I'd learned, but also that external experience to be able to help them create crisis management plans so that they could navigate the COVID issue. So I did that informally, right? Sometimes even for free, from March up until August, and some of them worked out, some of them it unfortunately didn't, right? So then I decided, why not just why not actually make sure that this becomes a thing that, we actually help people solve these problems. When you get into a crisis, you need some kind of way to navigate it, right? So that's how Thought Masters started, because I was tired of having to say, oh, I'm this person, I'm this person, I'm this person. And you say Thought Masters, it's like, okay, we're going to help you solve the issues of your particular business. You want to grow? Let's talk. You want to navigate crisis? Let's talk. But ever since then, Thought Masters has evolved from an entrepreneurship and growth management consultancy into what we are now, a specialist business creation consultancy. So last year, working with about 12 consultants spread across South Africa, where if someone had a problem, we'd collaborate, all of us, and say, okay, let's try to work this out, and we'll be able to help people start their business plans. Will advise them on how it is that they approach that journey, shaping their mindset. If they had any particular issues, maybe in handling their staff, say, how do you approach this? We'll be able to assist them in that, right? So now we're just changing from entrepreneurship and growth management consultants, which is not that much different, but now we're just simplifying it to, we're dealing with business creation, and we want to create a lot of businesses as our specialty in various industries, right? Whatever we'll be doing, we'll be mostly focusing on business creation, right? So that's the new direction that we're headed in now.
So if you don't mind me asking, what challenges are you facing at the moment, and what challenges do you think you'll be facing in the next 10 years?
Wow. It's never quite as easy, right? Just think into the future. I wish I could have like a glass ball where you think of these things. But I would see the problems that would have. You asked about the problems, right? So right now, the problems that we're having right now is that while Thought Masters operations are seeking to change from what I talked about to specialist business creation consultancy, where we're not only creating businesses, but also developing the leadership capacity to manage these businesses, right? We've got over 200 projects that we've already chosen or pre-selected so that we can be able to start in the next 2-3 years. Everything will be managed with us, right? From ideation, business planning, resource gathering, and even launch and management of those businesses. The only thing that is required is outside investors that can be able to look at our projects and say, hey, you know what? I would want to go into the drone farming industry. I would like to go into maybe high-end fashion businesses. I would like to go into this particular area, right? One of the biggest issues with that is that we need buy-in from a number of stakeholders, including venture capital, angel investors, and even private equity. People will be able to give us money and say, okay, I would want to be able to use 1, 2, 3 projects, right? The second part of it is we're also going to need cooperation from educational institutions, right? So, when you're building these businesses, you're going to need people that are going to come in and man these businesses, right? Like, notwithstanding that we've got a big problem with unemployment, right? So it provides an opportunity for us that if we do create these businesses, at least there's going to be a big opening for these people to come and work, right? So cooperation from the universities to be able to give us the students to say, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students, and they're looking for work. So the moment that they graduate, you can be able to also say, okay, fine, you got a job at one of the businesses that are created by us. So if we do not have their cooperation, it's going to make it extremely, extremely tough to be able to navigate that. The third one is government cooperation, right? You never know what the government decides to do at any given point in time. You just hope that it's on your side, right?
No, that is true.
And also last,
point, eh?
yeah, So you never know, because it's a private institution, and I talk about it here in a simplified way, but it's quite complex. It's quite a complex project. So you never know what the government is going to do. And so we also just keep our eye out. And lastly, as well, is also the people, right? You can't necessarily get your thing off the ground without people saying, we are on board with what it is that you want to do. So we have to be extremely charming, and to also show that the work that we're doing is going to make their lives better. We're not just after the money. We're not only, looking to say, okay, come and work on what we're doing, but to also say that the work that we're doing is not only going to make your lives better, right? It's not only just going to make our business work well, but it's also going to give you a sense of purpose that, as you're doing your work, the kind of value it will be bringing into the broader society. It might be solving a particular problem of maybe like water shortage. It might be solving a problem of removing material that can be recycled, so that you do not have dirt and harmful substances, right? It might be introducing a solution of equitable access to education, whatever the case may be. We're mostly working with, when we choose our solutions, it's we look at traditional opportunities, right? Traditional businesses that have already existed, right? Things like restaurants, things like farming, things like all of that. And we also look at current ones, things that are coming up now, things like generative AI, things like technologies like digital marketing and so on, where we can be able to say, what opportunities can we be able to make now to be able to make sure that we create value right now and solve the problems in different industries with that, but also future facing ones, right? So biggest one I can think of is Africa has the biggest population growth rate in the world. So to be able to create infrastructure capacity to be able to meet the needs of a growing population, right? Things like I said, like water, things like educational, things like even the technological game. We're really, really behind on that. It seems like we're trying to do a lot of things, but we're just focusing on one thing: business creation, right? That's just business creation. Everything else, other managers are going to take it from there. Yeah. So yeah, those are the main issues that we're going to be having. Again, sorry, it's quite a mouthful.
No, not a problem.
But yeah.
That's what we're actually looking for, the more information, the merrier, as they say.
Yeah.
So going to the part where you spoke about people, I have to say that I'm with you, brother. Like, I believe, like, not really, but I'm at a point where I feel that, it can be like, one step at a time, like one soul at a time. Like the baby, when they start to walk, they crawl and then they walk. They don't just start to walk. So all these things that we're doing, like somewhere somehow they're getting unnoticed, and it's just a matter of time until you get that platform that you're hoping for. But as long as you keep doing the good job and the great work that you are doing now, and also with the ones that you have, you do these ones here, you give them your best shot, they go speak to these ones. Next thing, before you know it, you're doing that whole paid forward. That whole paid forward? We teach three people something, and then from these three people, each one of them teaches three. So you never know. That's how it works,
Yeah.
Patience, like you said, a lot of people aren't patient, but with patience comes great things, And that time we even learn to make, wise decisions, because without patience, somebody comes here and says, "Hey, I want your business 400,000." You're gonna be thinking, "Oh, okay. Bring it on," But if you're patient, then you would wait and because why, you know the value of that business, So yeah, like on one of your recent posts on LinkedIn, right? You posted, and I'm just gonna quote from it, right? So you said, what is it? Let me just zoom it up a bit. So this is what you said. One thing I learned in 2023 is to be vocal about your value. Talk about it, sing about it, scream about it with exclamation marks.
Yes.
And then it continues to say, 2024 holds a lot of promise in the work that we are going to be doing with Thought Masters, and God willing, wherever you will go, and wherever you will go, you will hear about it. So if you don't mind me asking, what did you really mean by this thought that, you know what, you need to be vocal about your value, you know? And also when you said that the work that you're going to be doing with the Thought Master is going to be great. So what do you mean? What are you guys going to be doing that's going to get people coming? Like, I mean, I'm talking about what's not confidential, you know, but what, like you said, like you're here to solve the problem. So I'm talking in terms of, you know, solving the problem with a very great platform that you've created, that you founded, I mean, which is the Thought Masters. So let's hear it from the founder himself.
Hey. Oh man,
Yeah.
I never thought my quotes was going to
Used.
be recited back to me.
So
Now
we
I
need
actually
to
have to get myself.
remember, before you come here, we do a little bit of digging, you know. We don't just say, oh, he's
Yeah.
coming. We say, oh, he's coming. Let's see, what can we come up with, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
No, man, that's good. I do appreciate that. So
Right.
it's one of those moments where you get quite inspired. It's the entrepreneurial road is one that is filled with a lot of highs, but also a lot of lows, right? The wins are amazing, but the lows, they are punishing. What I can say that I've done is for the past 3 years, right? I've been trying to get around what I really wanted to do, which is create a lot of businesses anyways. This is what I studied. This is what I studied to make a tremendous amount of value, right? But I never really got to do that because I was thinking, let me try to side skirt what I wanted to do because it requires a lot of money, right? A lot of money that I do not have access to. Um, and I thought that, you know what, if I could, I would move around the issue by doing other work, you know, the writing business plans for other people, helping other people start their own businesses. But unfortunately, that was not able to get us to the point where I was able to get. But I did get something incredible from that for the past 3 years, which was the knowledge of how actual business works, something different from, you know, when you're learning it in class, whereas when you're doing it in real life, it's a lot more different. So right now I'm at a stage where I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm very confident about that. And I also know that there's also one thing: you can't ever be too confident about something, right? You always have to be open to learning. But I'm fairly confident in how I need to always be open to learning new things, right? So next year, the reason why I put that particular quote is we're no longer going to be saying that, you know, we're just doing business plans alone. We're going to be going after creating the businesses themselves. We're not going to be, I know like a lot of people and a lot of institutions, for all their well-meaning, you know, they say, okay, you know, we're going to promote entrepreneurship. We're going to sell entrepreneurial courses, not to bash anyone, but we're actually going to be building those businesses, right? Why, you know, put it out there and say, okay, you know, here's a course and hope that someone else is going to do it. It's extremely complicated work behind the scenes, right? You need a team, you need a network where you can be able to reach out. You need distributors, suppliers in different areas. You need a lot of money, like I said, and you also need the right time and opportunity, right? Not a lot of people, again, have access to all of those things combined in the same space, right? So that becomes extremely tough. But if we can say we take out all of that, say we create the businesses ourselves, we can be able to take out a great deal of it and say only to the investors, look, we're doing all of this work, but all you can just come in is to be able to invest in our opportunities, right? So next year, what we'll be doing is we'll be going after creating these businesses at scale, rapidly and at scale. And it's going to be quite exciting because it's going to be new opportunities where the opportunities that our mothers and fathers, you know, went into, the new generation will not necessarily have to do the same thing. So we're doing exciting work in new areas where they feel inspired to be able to say, you know what, I don't know, I'm a drone pilot or something, or maybe I'm a, you know, I don't know what, I can't think of any right now, but we've got over 200 projects lined up where there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to be created in the work that we're doing. And we're no longer going to be silent about that, right? We're going to be very loud about it. And that's my intention, that everywhere you go, be it is in the agricultural business, be it is in the fashion business, be it in the AI and generative AI business, you know, we are going to be very loud about it, and to make sure that people know that we exist, and we're going to be making sure that we are taking up space, so to speak, in
No, that's
Zosi's words.
no, that's very motivating, eh? Like I must say, it's really very motivating, because I mean, what you're really saying is basically is you need to understand that you are that business, and that if you don't do anything about it, like it's not like people aren't gonna know about it.
That's
Isn't
true.
it? Yeah. So I'm really glad that you shared that piece of information, because I mean, it's going to help a lot, you know. So looking at someone who's actually, you know, heading down the same way that you are, I mean, the same path that you're already into, or somebody that's thinking about, you know, doing what you are doing right now. Okay, so what kind of advice would you give them? Because I mean, I understand that it's not an easy road, and I understand that it requires a whole lot of things like the patience, you know, determination, the courage, you know, because I mean, at the end of the day, you need to understand that you gotta fail. You are gonna fail, and
Yeah,
then what
that's true.
happens? What happens thereafter? It's up to you, you know. So the kind of failures, like, are they really worth taking? You know, those punches, or can they just like say, you know, you know, that's it for me. I'm walking away. Or is it like really worth doing? You know. So yeah, let's hear it from you. Yeah.
No, man, I don't think I've lived long enough to be able to advise mostly on that, but I guess I'll give from my own perspective. From what I've seen is with life, either you have to jump into the hard times and fight them at will, or life will force you into them. It will drag you into them, which is not a very pleasant experience, because it will demand you get stronger, especially for men, right? And also especially in Africa, right? Africa is a very tough environment for everyone. I would have wanted to say a specific group, but then, you know, right now it seems it's for everyone. It's tough for everyone, and it's not going to get any better. So the only way that you can be able to make sure that you survive and even thrive is to jump into those difficult situations, jump into the fire, adapt to the fire, and come out on the other side fire resistant, right? Yeah, train, learn behind the scenes, and when you can, then you jump in there. So I think in the context of people maybe that are still trying to sort of like find their way into life, it's open yourself up to learning. Like I said before, you know, just open yourself up to learning. Learn a lot of things, you know, learn about business, you know, learn about politics, learn about religion, learn about philosophy, learn about nature, human nature even, right? And when you get out into the world there, you will not be surprised that, oh, I did not know this. You know, learn from the people around you, right? So being able to constantly confront that sense of ego to say, maybe you don't know everything. Maybe a 5-year-old might hold the key to your knowledge, right? Maybe they might know better than you. You know, that humility that you need to get from that learning experience. I feel like that's the most important, whether you're in high school, whether in university, master's, PhD, doesn't matter. Opening yourself up to learning.
Basically, you need a full
If you
cup.
don't mind, I would like to just share one example of one of my favorite uh,
Yeah, go
learning
on.
moments, I guess. Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
So there's this German philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. Right. So Friedrich Nietzsche, what happened was at the end of his life, you know, he lost his mind. Right. He became somewhat insane. But before he did, in his lesser known works, which was not published but was spoken about later, he spoke about an example where he said that suppose you're a man, or suppose there's a man who's stuck in prison. He did something, doesn't matter what he did, he goes to a prison, and for several years, he wakes up, he sees there's a guard outside, and then this guard is like, hey, here's your food, and then he would eat it, and then he'd go back to sleep, and then for several years that happened. One day the guard does not show up. They don't show up, they don't have the keys. He's the only one who can give him the freedom. A child shows up and says, hey, mister, I know that you want your freedom, here are the keys, open up. Right? So this man goes, no, you're not the guard, you cannot give me the keys, only the guard can give me the keys. But the guard there is nowhere to be found. He doesn't come back. Kid comes back the second week, kid comes back the third week. The man says, no, I'll wait until the guard comes. The guard never comes. Sometimes the keys to our freedom, they do not always lie in the people that are familiar, always give us those solutions. Sometimes they lie in the new face. Sometimes they lie in someone who's younger, or older. It doesn't matter. Or of a different race, or someone who's unfamiliar, right? But either way, when you know that what it is that you want is freedom, you can never be distracted from that if you're not just focusing on one source of education. Open yourself up to learning from multiple sources. I think that's the best I can be able to say it. I hope it's not too fluffy, so to speak.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, as a teacher, like, I usually also tell my learners that, hey, listen here, I learn from you as much as you learn from me. You might not see it, but I do learn something. Like, think about sometimes, those kind of moments when you would ask me, sir, this and that, and be like, what is that? And then you explain it to me. Don't you think that you've taught me something that I can actually use it on another conversation? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's very important to actually learn from everybody, like you said. It's very important. So now, so let's talk about you. Are you there? Oh, let's talk about you. Okay.
Sorry, someone just passing in the background. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. So let's talk about you. So when I saw you like on LinkedIn there, I was thinking that yo, this guy looks so uptight, yo, this guy looks so serious, I didn't think that you're gonna be, sharing this kind of information and not forgetting how willing you are actually to share it. So which brings me to the next question. I just wanted to ask you, what is it that people are surprised to find out about you?
Like I said, I'm a person, right? When I'm talking about things that inspire me, or learning, I'm as flexible as can be. I'm a person who loves to learn something new, right? So it doesn't really matter which area this is. Talk to me about your culture. We can talk for hours. Talk to me about the things that you're interested in. We can talk for hours. It doesn't matter even if it's so simple, right? As long as there's passion. I love passion. It's so infectious. When you hear someone speak passionately about something, one of the most biggest blessings that I had is I've had a number of teachers that were very passionate, and when they're passionate about what it is that they're doing, it spreads to the students, it spread to me, right? Even that story I was telling you about my friend, he was talking with so much passion. That's why it was so heartbreaking in the end when he was not able to finish his education, right? So I love passion. And it is a symbol of, like, it's a signal of life. When you're around passionate people, you never at any point feel like things are going downhill, right? There's always someone coming up with new solutions. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. And at the end of the day, you say, I lived a full life. Young children are really, really good at that. For some reason, as adults, we kind of beat it into submission somehow, and we try to hold it back. But the truth is, we don't really have to. We don't really have to. So I would consider myself as a person who's extremely passionate when I'm talking about, new experiences, solving new problems, meeting new people. Often people, again, like you said, they're often surprised about that. They look at me and they think, oh my God, we're going to have a really serious discussion about, and then they find out, no, I'm a lover of life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I always open myself up to learn about a lot of things. And I think that's the most we can do as people. We share our minds, our souls, our loves about different areas of life, right?
That
So
is
yeah.
true. No, absolutely. Earlier on, when you were answering these questions, you did say that, you need to be open to learning. And that is when I also said, you're not like a full cup, So, and now also you mentioned it again that you need to be open to learning. So if you don't mind me asking, right? I know I said this a lot, I should stop saying this, right? So what does learning mean to you? Like, let me just say it this way. Like, what does it mean to be a lifelong learner? Because I mean, learning has to do with being a lifelong learner, right? So,
Definitely.
so you choose between the two. Like, what does learning mean, or what does it mean to be a lifelong learner?
Um, Ndivo, when it's kind of hard to articulate, right? But when you've reached a certain age, I think at a certain age, you kind of think that you have all the solutions, right? So it's very easy to fall into this idea that you know everything, and taking the time to actually admit to yourself that maybe you do not know everything is quite humbling, and it humbles your ego, I guess, and you kind of you put back into that space of, what, let me consider that there's still so much more to learn, which there always is. There always is. People who get educated at the highest levels, they always know that what we know is a fraction of what can be learned, and there's so much wonder out there. So being able to always know that you have to humble yourself, that someone out there is going to know more about something that you may find valuable or that you need than you, right? So taking ego out of things, that I think would be the most important part about being a lifelong learner. Opening yourself up and take your ego out of it. You don't know. Let another person tell you. And then if you know, and either way, you're not going to know until they open their mouth to tell you, right? So yeah, just to be, gentle with yourself and to say, it's okay, I don't know. Let another person educate me. I think that's the most, I can be able to say on that.
It's hard for
Would you
people to
agree?
understand that. Yes, I do agree, because I mean, I usually believe that, okay, actually, I believe that it's you need to understand that you cannot pour into a full cup. So therefore, it's very important to understand that you're a half cup, because if you say you're a full cup, that means that there's nothing for you to learn. So you understanding that you're a half cup, that means that you reserve a space for you to learn from others. Doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the religion, doesn't matter the culture, like you said earlier. Okay, so now I try to ask you the best questions possible. So I don't know if there's a question that you would have preferred that I ask you that I did not. So I'm gonna hear it from you. Just think about it, like any question that you would have preferred, like something that can actually, help you, share some more to the world, because I mean, a lot of people that are probably gonna listen to this, they're really gonna wonder, like, yo, what is it that he would have preferred that we ask, because you know such information coming from you, people would want to know, who is this, you know, because I mean, you're sharing a very great piece of information ever since from the beginning, I must say. And I truly appreciate that, you know, so.
Yeah, I don't really think that there was a question that you did not touch on. This was surprisingly very thorough, I guess, because you not only touched on the things that I do, but also the things that I was not very great at, right? Which I was not prepared for, right? I know you asked other people, but I did not think that you're going to repeat the same question. But yeah, that caught me by surprise a bit.
I think it's the second one I'm asking
So
this question too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in the spirit of just keeping the conversation authentic, I don't really think that there's any question that you didn't ask that I would have wanted you to ask. I just wanted to, you know, to be here because I know that you ask challenging questions, right? That's the first one. And then the second part of it is to talk a little bit about Thought Masters, that now we're going into this new direction and we intend to make a lot of noise, right? And you're the first one that I would have wanted to do this with, right? I'll be trying to make a lot of noise, as you see, future on, that we'll be doing this quite a lot. And I would think that a lot of people would also ask quite a lot of questions on Thought Masters itself, because, you know, like I said, it's quite a complex operation. But more than that, I think you quite touched on the most important aspect of it, which is just living life in the moment consciously. Right? To say that if you're in this moment, then be in this moment. You know, don't be too much in the future. Don't be too much in the past. Do what you can now. You know, so I feel like we've touched on that quite a lot, and how that can also apply even to, be it high school students, university students, and even professionals, where we often get into these mind journeys where we say we remove ourselves from this moment, like, oh, if only in the future this is going to happen. It's like, no, just be here now. What can you do now? Because that's the only thing you can do anyways. You can't breathe a future breath. You know, you can't breathe a past breath. You can only breathe now. You can live now and think of what's happening now. So yeah, I think you are very thorough on that. You even explored areas of yes. So as I was saying that, you know, you touched on the soul of what I do and the foundation of Thought Masters in a way that I did not even realize myself. Right? I knew there was powerful motivations there, but I never even realized how much life and being in the moment there was inspiring that kind of work. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. So thank you very much, Ndivo.
No, it's really a pleasure. I really appreciate you being here. I mean, like I said before, the piece of information that you shared with us is very insightful. And I believe that, you know, a lot of people are gonna see it the very same way, you know, because at the end of the day, we are out here to help them, you know. And like I said, it's not like a lot of people that are willing to come and sit and just educate people. Yeah, and also looking at what you've shared with us, I believe there's those people that really, really, really would love to connect with you and know more about you, or if not about you, then more about the Thought Masters, you know. So to those of you that would like to connect, where can they do that?
So my public social platforms, they're fairly open to be able to connect with me. So you can be able to send me any message, right, via LinkedIn. Right? I think right now I am at 30,000, so it might be quite difficult, right? So maybe they might be able to follow rather than connect as a first degree connection. However, there is my contact details, not only on LinkedIn, to be able to message me via WhatsApp, but also even on the website, right? So there's the contact details, the email functionality, and even the WhatsApp, right? For me and Thought Masters, you can be able to reach me there, right? So and wherever you find Thought Masters, you send a message, you'll be able to reach me, right? The phone numbers is 076-501-5387. And if you want to be able to reach me on the email, you can just send walter@thoughtmasters.co.za. Any question is fine. Any idea you want to throw is fine. You want to have a discussion on starting businesses, on loving life, on sharing passion, let's have it, right? I'm more than happy to have those conversations. When we're alive, we have to be alive, right? We can't be anything else. Yeah, it would be a
Absolutely,
shame.
brother. No, I second that, without a doubt, actually. So
Yeah.
so now that we've come to the end of the interview, the session, I really believe that the information that you shared with us, it's what one needs to actually, advance in their career, and also to help their children, help them make the, informed career decision. Because you've shared what most people would love to hear from the profession that you're in, and for enlightening them and for sharing that information. Thank you so much. I really cannot thank you enough, but really your information is truly appreciated, and your time as well. So before you go, is there any piece of information that you would like to share with the learners, and also the parents or people out there that are, entrepreneurs trying to, get up but finding it difficult? Because I believe that some are probably, reached a point where they feel like, it's not worth it. So how do we revive that spirit, So
That's a tough question. That's another tough question. You're not going to let me go with any easy questions. Oh,
That's the
man.
thing. The thing is, we want, people are out here saying that we want that information. So they don't want me to just, touch on the questions that are, asked everywhere. They want to hear something different, What
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
person really about, and what do they do, and what they do, what they do really about, what do we learn from them?
Yeah, no, I do understand, and I do appreciate it. Challenging, but I
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it. Right.
If
I
it
feel like
doesn't
I kind
challenge
of
you, it
fall on
doesn't
this.
change you.
That's true. That's also very true.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would not, in all honesty, if you're a person who um shies away from uncertainty, right? I would not necessarily advise you to become an entrepreneur, right? Because there's a lot of uncertainty there, right? You'd much rather go into something where like there's a high degree of predictability, right? Maybe the professions or something with a growing demand, right? But if you love adventure, if you love learning and opening yourself up to the world of the unknown, then by all means let's move in the same direction. I'm more than happy to see a lot of people going in this direction. The most impactful advice I can be able to give to someone who is maybe not sure of what they want to do in terms of career, or even in terms of making other decisions in their life, I would give them the same advice that I was given by my uncle, right? He said to me, you need to pay attention to the things that you're running away from, right? So the things that cause you pain, the things that cause you suffering, you see certain people live a certain way of like, no, I do not want that. Pay attention to that, right? Pay attention to that, know what that is. But also pay attention to those things that you're attracted to, right? See those people that are doing the things that inspire you and say, okay, this is what I want. This is what I admire the most. Pay attention to those things and pay attention to the things that they're doing that's different from what you're currently doing, and emulate that, right? So you have a very clear idea of where you're not going towards. Say, I'm moving away from here, but I'm moving towards here, right? So those two things they give you more direction than anything else. And I've always taken that advice to heart to say, pay attention to the things that you are running away from and move away from them. Pay attention to those things that you're attracted to, those people you're attracted to, and move towards them. And, might be scary, but, there's a reason why you're attracted and inspired by those things, so that's the most I can be able to give you. I can't tell you to go and do accounting, but if it's something that inspires you, by all means, do that. If it's, maybe history, or maybe it might be computers, pay attention to that. Go towards that. There's a reason why you're attracted to that, and that attraction will fuel you to become the top of your game in that particular area. So, yeah, that's in a very short way, I guess, the advice that I can give to your very difficult question.
No, I have to say
Yeah.
big ups to your man. I mean, to your uncle. Like the way that you shared it with me. I think it's like it's when you're listening to someone, but also you are zoning out because you're trying to think as they're talking. As they're drilling that sense into your mind. You're trying to hold on to it, so you can come up. They say a mind is something that if you ask it the questions, it will never rest. Just make sure you ask it like good questions, or questions that are worth it, So like that, the way you explained it, yeah, because now I'm thinking like, what am I running away from? What are other people running away from? Like, is that a question that I can answer now?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, no, I can't. So I just need to, be on like alone and just really think about it, really think, like ask my mind these questions until all those questions, are found. So I really appreciate for sharing that information that your uncle has shared with you. So I'm sure wherever he is, he's happy to see that what is passed on to you, you are passing around to others. Who knows how many people are gonna hear it from this platform, and from wherever. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what you are doing, or what you just shared with us, really makes a whole lot of difference, because I mean, this is what we're looking for here. This platform is all about making a difference, through education, through everything else. But as long as we build a generation that is full of smart individuals that are willing to change the world for better, then we are happy. And it's through people like you that we're able to do that. And although I cannot thank you enough, I really thank you.
No, it's people like you as well. And I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you once again, Devo. Let's hope this will help someone.
Yes, absolutely. And also let's have a continued relationship. let's not this be the let us not the English.
I'll definitely be looking forward to it.
Yeah, so let us not let this be the last time we are chatting. So yeah.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
Say it forever.
Yeah. All right, but cheers, man. Have fun, enjoy. To be at the very end, of this podcast, just watching it, just learning, from like learning everything, just taking in everything that was shared in this interview. I mean, it's really a blessing, right? I mean, who would have just given you such piece of information for free? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, Libo Chibase, and I love you so much. And while you wait for another episode, please watch the episodes that we already have for you. Stay tuned for another one. 2024 comes with hot, sizzling, hot episodes.